June 13th, 2005. It was a quiet evening in the Spanish town of Benejúzar. 55-year-old María del Carmen García was waiting for the bus, lost in thought, just like any other day. Suddenly, an old man approached her, leaned in and asked, "How's your daughter?" The moment Garcia locked eyes with him, something snapped inside her. Without hesitation, she rushed to a nearby gas station, bought gasoline, and poured it all over the man before setting him on fire. At first glance, it seemed like a horrifying murder. But as the truth unraveled, tens of thousands of people supported what Maria had done. Nationwide campaigns were launched to prevent her from facing punishment. But why did Maria do it? To understand, we need to go back 7 years, to 1998. María del Carmen García was preparing lunch with her husband and 13-year-old daughter, Veronica. At some point, she asked Veronica to go out and buy bread. But when the girl returned home, their lives turned into a nightmare. While walking back, Veronica ran into Antonio Cosme, their neighbor. The 62-year-old man was about to get into his car. He greeted her casually, but in the blink of an eye, he grabbed Veronica and forced her into his vehicle. Terrified, Veronica couldn't comprehend what was happening. Cosme drove her to a secluded, wooded area, threatened her with a knife, and assaulted her. Then, as if nothing had happened, he drove her back home and left her near her house, warning her not to tell anyone. However, Veronica had been gone for too long. Her worried mother questioned her, and the girl, in tears, confessed everything. Their world shattered. The family immediately reported Cosme to the police. The investigation found physical evidence and marks on Veronica's body, confirming her claims. But despite this, some neighbors defended Cosme, believing that such a respectable and well-connected man could never do such a thing. Many even accused Veronica of lying. After 2 years of legal battles, in the year 2000, Antonio Cosme was sentenced to 9 years in prison. However, the slow judicial process and constant public scrutiny took a severe toll on the Garcia family. The struggle for justice left Veronica and her mother emotionally drained. The sentence wasn't as long as they had hoped, and it left them disillusioned with the justice system. Maria, overwhelmed with pain and frustration, was admitted to a psychiatric hospital for a time. She couldn't accept what had happened or the leniency of the court's decision. She was no longer the same person. Once cheerful and outgoing, she had become withdrawn, hopeless, and lost in thought. 5 years passed. Then, in June 2005, Antonio Cosme was granted a 3-day release for good behavior. And the first thing he did, he returned to town. That evening, as he was heading to a bar to meet friends, he spotted Maria at the bus stop. He walked up to her, smirked, and mockingly asked, "How's your daughter?" Maria couldn't believe her ears. She had already lost faith in the justice system after his mere 9-year sentence. But now, only 5 years later, he stood before her, shameless and arrogant. Something inside her snapped. At first, she said nothing. Cosme smirked, then walked away toward the bar a few doors down. But Maria had already made up her mind. She headed to the gas station across the street, bought a bottle of water, emptied it, and filled it with gasoline. Then, she entered the bar. Without a word, she walked straight up to Antonio Cosme, poured the gasoline over him, and set him on fire. Cosme was rushed to the hospital in critical condition. He fought for his life for 11 days, but ultimately succumbed to his injuries. Maria was arrested shortly after while walking near the harbor. Police reports state that she was in a dissociative state and claimed she didn't remember anything. From that moment, Spain was divided. Some argued that justice should never be taken into one's own hands, no matter how painful the circumstances. They demanded the harshest punishment for Maria, but many others believed the opposite. Crowds gathered outside the courthouse, cheering for her release. Tens of thousands signed petitions urging the government to set her free. The trial lasted 5 years. In the end, the court sentenced Maria to 9 years in prison, just like Cosme had received. However, considering her psychiatric history, the judge ruled that she had acted in a state of temporary insanity and reduced her sentence to 5.5 years. Over time, her sentence was postponed and interrupted multiple times. She was incarcerated twice, but finally walked free in 2018. María del Carmen García's case sparked a nationwide debate on justice, revenge, motherhood, and society's treatment of women. It also highlighted the failures of the legal system, proving once again that better safeguards must be put in place.